It should be free, Florian. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee, because we're going to have a bit of a talk about, some viewers arguing, well, childcare should be free. Yesterday I did this video looking at childcare handouts. Essentially, I'd argue the LNP is looking to win votes. And of course, Labour came up saying, no, it's not enough. We need to give away more. Really, if you think about it, with the two sides, you've got to be smart. Who do you want to? How deep a haul in debt do you want to go for the people in power? That's really where it's coming to. Do you want a little socialism, or do you want a lot of socialism with wokeness thrown in? What flavor of wokeness do you want? They're the choices we have at the moment. It's quite frustrating. Now, I did a video about this, and I argue that, well, childcare shouldn't be free. I'd advocate for less regulation and intervention in the market. It's insane how much the government intervenes in childcare. It's not surprising, because whenever you deal with anything with children, people are, worried. Now, a viewer left a comment, and I thought we'd go through this comment so I could respond in a video, because it's a very good talking point. Now, I'm not throwing any hate on the viewer for giving this comment. I'm not critical of them. They were quite polite in showing how they disagree with me. Now, what's frustrating as a YouTuber is when someone just starts cursing at you, saying you're a F-bomb, you're an idiot, and then just doesn't really add anything to the point. I don't have time for that rubbish, guys, because then I'll get fired up, and then I'll start doing a bloody flame war in YouTube, and it's a waste of time. Where if someone leaves a comment, nuance, disagreeing with me, I think it's worth discussing. Now, the fundamental issue I want to draw to attention is that whenever you advocate for something being free, as in free, provided by the state or the government, you're advocating for other people paying for it. Sure, you'll probably pay for it yourself in your taxes, but that you're advocating for forced labor, which is essentially what taxation is. Everyone, you can dress it up any old way you want, a social contract. But, I paid my taxes yesterday, okay, so I'm pretty amped, angry about it. It's a lot of people. How many people actually send taxes to the government? You don't have to do all the paperwork. It's why small business people are more inclined to, let's say, be more conservative and advocate for smaller government, because we actually feel the pain of paying for it. Other people, when it's like I heard Warren Buffett talk about it yesterday. Tax time's like a Christmas club, because they withhold your tax and then you feel like you get some money back. Then it's brilliant. So let's have a look at this comment and have a bit of a talk about it. So we'll go here. So Heise, hang on, I'll get my right highlighter. Fantastic. Heise, love your videos. Yeah, that's it. You always need to butter me up first. Especially, I did the same thing. Whenever I was tutoring, I'd say, criticizing something, I'd say the good, the bad, and the ugly. When because for students, you want to say, okay, you've done this really good, this is bad, and this is just atrocious. That's how I would do it. It's a good strategy. Works in the comments. So tells my friends to watch. Fantastic. We'll buy a mug. But please, you're getting old and cynical on two things. Okay. Well, that may be completely true. I am definitely getting old, and I'm definitely getting cynical. My daughter reminds me how my beard is going even more white. If you can see it on the sides, guys, if you look at some earlier videos. And I'm growing it longer because she wants to plait it. Go the whole Viking style. What do you think? My Germanic and Northern European heritage. So housing. Yes, it's going up and will continue to go up, especially once the border opens. Now, my issue with housing isn't that, it's not going to go up. I'm worried that it is going to go up, and it'll divert more resources from other parts of the economy into housing, because you'd be stupid to start a business. You'd be stupid to innovate. That's my real problem. I'm thinking long term. That's the issue. Because, it's sad. Why would you start a business? More people want to live here now than ever before, and they have the money, lots of it. Yeah, well, we're definitely seeing a divide. There is a K-shaped economic recovery. Some people are doing well and some are not. And on this video topic about childcare is always a heated topic. I do videos on it occasionally, and it always impassions people. You say kids should be raised by their parents. I agree. Good. But we don't all live in a dump like you and have a nice house and a nice car that both parents need to work to keep. Well, I'll keep reading before I comment. So childcare is the only resort. Childcare should be free. Let me ask you, how much do you receive in government benefits, Florian? Oh, ho, ho. How much would your disabled kid put on a burden onto the taxpayers? And why should you receive benefits while us with kids who put them in childcare receive nothing? Explain this to me, mate. Also, 5 kids is ridiculous. I bet you rely on the government for a lot more than you tell us. And it's actually, we're expecting our 6th child. Thank you very much. Now, let's pull this apart for a few things. We don't all live in a dump like you. Well, I can appreciate that, but it's completely by our choice to live in a dump and save a lot of money on mortgage. I've got no stress with regard. Even if interest rates double or triple, it's not going to be much of stress. My stress is demolishing and renovating. That's a whole different world of stress. So, what does it take? What do you pick? But if you have a nice house and a nice car, so this is the thing. This is the trap that some people fall into, I'd say. Getting the nice house, getting the nice car, and both parents need to work to keep. So you working for your house and your car, or you're working for your family? In some ways, that's a little sad little drop there. What are you working for? I would much rather have a crappy house, that people will put their nose up on. Oh, it's not good enough. Look at my rendered piece of crap that's going to catch on fire because of the flammable stuff. Ho, ho, ho. I'd much rather have a cheaper house. And, the neighbor in the street, because our street is gentrifying, all the houses are getting done up. The neighbor in the street with the most expensive house who's done it up, he's quite encouraging to buying a crap house and doing it up because I think he's enjoying seeing someone else suffer through what he has suffered in his younger days. So, and a nice car. Why you don't need a nice house or you don't need a nice car. That's the thing. What are you working for there? That's a real problem we need to look at. But that's another issue. And if that's both parents need to work to keep. We've now got to a point where the mother and dad have to work. It's not a choice. If you want to have the nice house, if you want to have the nice car, if you want to put your kids in the private school, you've both got to work. In some ways, it's kind of sad. And, the viewer's right. He's right. I've seen it in the homeschooling community that a lot of people that really do it tough to make ends meet because they're passionate about it. So childcare is the only resort. And it should be free. And as I said, when you want it to be free, you're advocating for resources. You've got to understand, you're advocating for resources to be taken from other people, other hardworking people. It could be the money that I need to use to pay for my child's dance lessons. Why should that go to pay for your childcare? That's what it is. You can create an emotional narrative about it. And that's what people will do. When children are involved, the unions, the teachers, the politicians, they'll use it for political game. We need to try and just look behind the veil that they're putting forward and really examine it a bit critically. So how much do I receive in government benefits? Now, this is the thing you'll see that's never mentioned. Never mentioned in any of the articles. And you've got like a single mother who's struggling to get by with her 4 kids and she's out on the street. And everyone who has children here in Australia can receive the family tax benefit. And this is a payment on your kid, and you can either get it, monthly or at the end of the year. It all figures out. Now, in some ways, it's similar to the food stamps over in the US. In the US, there'll be all these articles, and all the leftists will go off. Costco are such a bad company, such a percentage of their workforce receive food stamps. And you'll think, oh, that sounds terrible. But when you look into it, you can still, over in the States, be earning decent income, $40,000 to $50,000 a year, and still get food stamps if you have kids. This is where the concern for children is overriding logic. People who are earning a reasonable amount of money are still getting welfare from the government to ensure a minimum level for children. And I'm sure most people accept that. But you have to understand, using that to attack Costco or to attack businesses, and disparage them and push socialist agendas, well, it's done for ideological reasons. Now, here in Australia, that's why you'll see in the media like a family with like 5, 6 kids, and the dad isn't working and the mother isn't working, and they're just getting all the money in. And it's because they're getting that. That's what they're getting. But it disappears really quick, everyone. Once you earning a reasonable level of income, every step up, once you get to 70 grand, once you get to 100, once you get to 130, it starts to disappear. So it's welfare. That's what it is. I would rather, and we don't get any, guys. I would rather that they allow maybe more, income distribution in the family. Allow the husband and wife, if you've only got one breadwinner, because here you've got a couple, both of them are working, both of them are paying taxes. So what if only the husband had to work, and you can split that money down the middle, so each person gets it, it's distributed, you pay half the tax to help support a family. Wouldn't that be interesting? These are the policies we need to discuss. This free childcare or childcare subsidy is just a vote winner. That's what they're doing it for. So my disabled kid, a burden on the taxpayer. We'll see how he's going. To be honest, the NDIS is interest because we've got the National Disability Insurance Scheme, and this is where if you have a disabled child, or if you're disabled, you go on the scheme, and every year you'll kind of get a report written of all the services that you need. And you'll have access to a whole range of different things to provide care to you. So the goal is to ensure independence for disabled people with the objective of reducing the burden they have on the state in the long term. Now, the problem with it is that what do you think the minimum cost for any service is going to be? It's all the government rates. They just dictate the whole market. All these people are now essentially civil servants. And then if you're a private person and want to use these services, but they're all being taken up by NDIS people, or the NDIS people is at a certain level, or the rate is at that NDIS rate, it's going to pump up the cost for everyone else. So it's something I'm only starting to look into, but it looks like a huge reward. And my goal with Edward, who has Down syndrome, is to steer him to a path where he can generate his own income and revenue. And fortunately, we're in a world now where that's much more accessible. In the past, for someone with a disability, the only option would essentially have been circus work, which a lot of people disparage. But I mean, that provided a lot of people opportunities. And now, we've got media. We've got the world. I just need to work on his linguistic abilities. And it seems like he is going to be vocal and talking. We'll see how he goes, guys. I'll give you an update on that one. So, I mean, the viewer, we disagreed on a few things. I responded as such and took a jab at, 5 kids is ridiculous. I took a jab at why would you dare buy a nice house and a nice car if you can't even afford to pay other people to take care of your kids? That's ridiculous. So obviously we disagree on a few things, and that's fine. The viewer was very polite. I don't want you to kind of, comment on them or criticize them. But I thought it was worth discussing. Because whenever someone advocates for something to be free, they're advocating for resource being taken from one group to another. If you want something free, that's charity then. That's a different thing. I'm not against things being free, but that should be charity and generosity of others. It shouldn't be provided by the state. So what are the solutions here? We need to remember nothing is free. Free doesn't exist. Free is a fantasy. Free doesn't exist in nature. Free doesn't exist just because the government gives you something and you don't have to pay for it. This is the problem. But no one, either they don't get it or they don't care because it wins votes. This is the danger with democracy, everyone. Because you can vote in legalized theft by the state, who has the monopoly on the use of force. It can take resources from one group and give it to another to buy votes to keep themselves in. This is the danger of democracy. And I'm hoping with access to more media and education, we can kind of shift the Overton window. But maybe that's just naive on my part, because free. So if you're advocating that a material good should be a right for everyone, provided by the state, you're advocating for the forced redistribution of wealth. That's what you're advocating for. Every time you say that, I know you may think, everyone should have access to education. Everyone should have access to this. What I would rather is that we reduce the regulation in these sectors. I was talking to Rachel this morning about this very topic, that childcare should be, she was talking about an app that allowed people to share. People who needed support. Families to come together saying, okay, I'll take care of your kids on this day if you take care of your kids on that day, and that type of thing. But whenever money changes hands, then that messes it all up. Then the government needs to be involved. Then regulation needs to be involved. Then this, that, and the other needs to be involved. Because people are afraid. It's emotional. It gives the bureaucrats, it gives the politicians, and it gives the political parties control. If they were to remove that, it would just take one hysterical woman responding to something happening in the media, and there'd be outrage. So that's what I'd advocate for, reduce regulation in the childcare sector, guys. Do you think it can happen? The NDIS, you've got to understand, this is complete intervention in the market. A lot of people may not have seen what it's like, everyone. And it's going to have unintended consequences, blowout costs, and it's a whole other world. There's two ways to approach it with this. When you have someone with a disability, you can fund it, cash flow it all yourself for the costs, like doctor's visits or equipment or everything, and then you get reimbursed. Or you can go through a third party that manages it all for you. So it's interesting. I'm just starting to look at it, but I think there's going to be a whole lot of market issues coming out of that. And it's going to destroy innovation. Think about it. Why would you innovate? Why would you look at new options, new things when it's just all locked in the NDIS? Why would you look at, we're getting speech therapy for our child, which is very important at this age for, with regards to their development, particularly eating. What option would there be to incentivize someone to create a new service where some of it's done remotely and then occasional visits or occasional office visits, to be more innovative to provide a more cost-competitive solution? That's my one concern. It's going to destroy innovation. So there we go, everyone. Remember, if you're advocating something should be free, you're advocating for the forced redistribution of wealth from one group to another. Nothing's free when you say government. What's your take on this one? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. If you're a fan of the channel and enjoy the content I create here, there are a few ways you can support us. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can sign up for SelfWealth or Stake and help us with our share trading. You can use our affiliate links from Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or even good old AussieBroadband. I am a shareholder in AussieBroadband, so I'm completely biased. But, come on, you've all been with... It doesn't take much to be a good internet service provider. You answer the phone with an Aussie accent and can understand the English that you're saying, and then I'm happy. Boy, I've got a low bar now. We've got merch you can buy, or you can use Gold Pass or PayPal. Take care, everyone. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.